Point is the prisons, the penal apparatus. You know, and his point about the penal apparatus is that on the basis of, when you really think about it, they really are sweet nothings. What are the sweet nothings? The claim on the part of the penal apparatus, for example, to correct, rehabilitate prisoners. In fact, I think it's only women's prisons that are still called correctional institutes. But there used to be a time when every prison in the Philippines was called a correctional institute. And yet we know that correction hardly takes place in these places. If anything, these places exist to serve the proliferation of crime. So that's why Foucault says, you know, when you think about the penal apparatus, stop listening to the rhetoric, the Enlightenment rhetoric, the humanities-based rhetoric. You know, it's not really to rehabilitate prisoners that the institution has been organized, but it's precisely so that they can be created. And the more decisively they are created, they get expanded and so forth and so on, the more decisive the power of surveillance of the state can become. But of course, you need a showcase. You need people actually in prisons to serve as a showcase for why it is that the power of the state to surveil people, its subjects, must be expanded. I mean, the more there is a perception of crime on the streets, the higher real estate prices go up. The more there's a perception of crime on the streets, the bigger the police force becomes. So in other words, that may in fact be the real reason behind an expanding penal apparatus. In other words, to expand the partitioning of society. So in other words, there are many other disciplinary instruments in and through which the disciplinary state is able to sort of like work its calculations, you know, of all of these forces, supposedly which will bring benefit to the population. But of course, he points out also the underside. The underside of that is that, well, the state apparatus will bring benefit to the population, but then it can also demand of the population mass annihilation should the time ever come. Well, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, for example.